last session too.
He gets around. He's got a dirigible.
We smacked it on the nose with some newspaper and said, no biscuit, and he went home.
But it
Stop
was
talking
like
about me like that.
it was like the Stranger Things version of the Tarrasque. So like you're expecting a giant monster that is like super scary from several miles away, but instead it's a much smaller monster whose head is a flower.
All right.
Flowers can be scary to some people.
Yes, they can.
I used them in the other campaign, and they were quite scary. Gorga went down twice, so yes. But I should probably introduce the show. Hello, and welcome to Critical Knowledge. This is the 5th edition homebrew Dungeons & Dragons game that has taken an odd turn. Would anyone care to summarize what the party chose to do for Arc 2?
We are now actors. Pepto,
You cut out.
We are now actors.
Apparently, we're a circus now.
We're not a circus. We are a professional acting company.
We have
Our
a
first
playhouse
show
and
was a
everything.
Charlie Brown Christmas.
Is
We,
that what
as
we
our
are?
gift, we got an acting house because Hero really, really, really wanted to be Jesus in a Charlie Brown Christmas, and that's what
He
we're
really
going
wanted to be
with.
Jesus.
Yes, and we've discovered ways to have everyone's skills be useful, and so they built us a giant house, or got us a giant house, I don't know, and we now have it, and it's really awesome, and I got a tree to sleep in.
I am
And so-
extremely alarmed by the roll that Matt just made.
But yeah, so that's what we
it wasn't
did.
a perception check.
Oh, God. But yeah,
That's a
so
nat
that's what
20
we
plus
did.
6.
We are actors now, and it's really awesome, and we're going to have a great time. That's what we decided to do. And so we now live in a stage house, and we're going to put on plays.
So, a
What
couple
role
things.
am I supposed to be playing?
You're the animals.
Oh, okay. Bye.
See, that's exactly what we wanted out of you.
You bring just the right amount of energy to this role.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be baby Jesus in a manger.
Hey, one thing
All
I'll say for him,
17
Jesus is cool.
You know it. Jesus is okay with me.
I will be Jesus and do sick kickflips on my board.
My cat's trying to attack me because I was too energetic during the last minute.
See, this is why I have advantage.
But yes, so
I love
that's what
Aretha's
we did last
character
time.
so much.
While we worked on the playhouse and discussed our future plans, at some point also we were attacked in the evening by...
Oh yeah, we actually had plot.
Yeah, we had some plot.
I will have you know, planning a production is a plot. They made an entire show about it called Glee, which then stole an arrangement of a song from Jonathan Colton and thought he should feel privileged to have stuff stolen from him. But never mind about that.
I got too distracted with Pev drawing the pamphlets for the playhouse with glitter crayon.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
So,
This is
a
why
couple
Kansas
things.
does performance checks.
So, a couple things. First of all, when I was creating the concept of the harbor town of Flotsam, which is confusingly on an island of the same name, because that's a thing that a lot of people do. For example, there is a city in the first town mentioned in this campaign ever called Coomridge Keep, which is in Coomridge. So, there's that. With that said, something that happens on this island is that it's not really one for a very strong central government. People kind of look to the Ogmanite Enclave as the ones who are in charge because of all the various groups. They seem to be the most cohesive with their organization skills. But they're like over 50% gnomes, so organization skills may vary.
But then Eric showed up.
Hi, Eric. We now own a playhouse.
Yay, Playhouse!
Yes.
I'm
as
Baby
in
Jesus
theater.
in the Christmas play.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yes, no magic will be used to shapeshift the 7-foot-tall tabaxi. He's just going to go up to the major and drape over it, as a
But
cat is wont to do.
But does he have props?
Yeah. Also, by the way, we're using your brewing skills to create beer, for the concessions.
As we should.
All we know is the hero is going to be the baby.
Also, I played the liar, so I'm also going to be in the pit. I'm also security, for reasons.
I'm just waiting for
Okay.
Hero to take levels in Bard.
We're only 4 or 5 people, so a lot of people have to, do several jobs.
Yeah.
Millie,
Yeah.
when I was a child,
You spoke as a child?
the people who lived across me were the Pittingers,
Bless you.
and they had a sign on their house that identified it as the Pits, and that's all I can think of when you identify yourself as the Pit.
Well, that is what it's called. Also, Nyx is helping me with security because of the eye thing.
Okay.
Makes sense. Also, Ellie, you're also helping me with the musicality because you play the flute, I
Definitely.
think, or you sing. Someone plays the flute. We thought
Xanthus
this all
plays
out.
the flute.
Yeah.
Xanthus plays the flute.
So Xanthus, I was also going to help.
Arepa has a spoken word album out.
This is true.
The comedy stylings of Stephen Wright.
I thought it would be more like an emo Phillips comedy album.
Some people are worried about depths. Personally, I'm worried about widths.
I really think Arepa should go into emo Phillips style comedy.
So, to get back to my explanation of why the party didn't have to fund a playhouse.
Curiosity killed the cat, but I was a suspect
No.
for a while.
No, it didn't.
No, Curiosity got an AOL CD stuck to the cat's forehead.
Yes. Get this right.
What really killed the cat was nothing, because having to roll a death save doesn't mean you're dead yet, Hero. Stop insisting the DM killed you multiple times.
Hero is dramatic. It still is in character.
Which is why you have a theater now. So there were a lot of people coming to the island and deciding, hey, you know what, Flotsam seems like a nice place. There's not really a whole lot of law enforcement to speak of, so we're just going to set up shop here. No one can stop us. However, there were some members of the Ogmanite Enclave that had various research into different things, like, say, instant housing. So they decided, oh, hey, new settlers, or as I like to call them, alpha testers.
Sounds very similar to suckers. I mean,
Every new resident is provided with a prefab house in a box, now with 75% fewer explosions.
Ooh, that's a shame.
And when the party came to the Ogmanites in charge of this project and said, we'd like a theater, they decided to make it be their magnum opus. And so that's why your party combined, has a theater. It's not the globe, but it's the world to you.
Oh, I like
just
that when
thought
I
of that.
type in theater in the GIF searcher, the first thing that pops up is cats.
Is the layout internally like the Beacon in Philadelphia? Just wondering, because, I'm a big fan of the Beacon.
Well, the floor plan has been created by April, so you can see the images that she has shared. I'm probably going to vectorize them at some point, but that is exactly what the theater looks like. And
Wonderful.
And as has been stated, somehow some level of Christianity exists in Circulus now.
Christmas show.
If only just enough of it so that you can perform this planet's version of the Charlie Brown Christmas special. There are some who argue that D&D is far too serious. I asked them to watch this campaign.
That is, yeah. Gotcha. That was the end. That was the golden ticket right there. Gotcha.
So, with that said, it is opening night. How have you prepared?
Poorly.
For making me laugh so hard that I coughed, you have inspiration.
Thank you.
I painted things.
Did you paint the correct things?
I painted with help and supervision.
That doesn't answer my question. I have a 4-year art degree and years of experience teaching visual art. Help and supervision does not mean the correct things were painted.
Mostly. Mostly.
Yeah,
the right
mostly.
things.
So, like, the trees are all the correct, like, brown and green, and, like, like, the houses are the right color, and the manger is brown, and there is a lot of hay in the manger. I tried. I did very well. I'm very excited right now because this is new, so I'm paying attention. I haven't gotten bored of it yet. So it is, I'd say, 10-year-old child who's actively trying levels.
I can tell you
right.
because I have assisted with productions that were, among other grade levels, included 10-year-old children. That can end remarkably well.
Yeah, so it's 10-year-old child who is new to art but trying really hard.
All right, that's valid. Now, it turns out that you have been told that you will have some guests of honor at opening night because, as is true for many settlements of significant size, Flotsam does have an orphanage. So there will be children from the orphanage attending. The orphanage is run by a Kenku. Because of course it is.
Yeah.
So do I get to can I do Linus' speech at the end?
Can you do what?
Can I do Linus' speech at the end? I appreciate it.
That's up to the rest of the characters. I mean, your call.
I just want to be baby Jesus and maybe a cow.
Well, for the record, the orphanage is maybe a cow. Is THEM going to turn you into a cow, though? That is the question.
No, THEM is not going to turn me into a cow.
Okay, because if you turn into a ghost version of you,
this
that's
week.
going to be upsetting.
No.
With that said, just a little bit more information about the orphanage. It's quite small. It only has 12 children in it, which, I mean, that is probably a good thing that they only have 12 orphans in it. It's mostly humans, but there is a tiefling, 3 tabaxi, and a half-elf as well. But you have been informed that they definitely will be attending opening night. So maybe do your best for the kids.
Hero loves kids.
And 3 of them are cat people.
But yeah, as I put in the chat, I got a 17 on a religion check. I just want to make sure that we have this as Hero wants to make sure this is done really right because they're very excited. Kind of like a little bit bordering on horse girl like levels of like wanting to make sure we got this right.
So let me stress how much there is yes and going on right now with this. So for your roll of 17, I will let you interpret it the way you want to interpret it, because you are effectively, so far as the planet of Circulus is concerned, forming a new religion with your children's play.
Oh, man.
Can we base it off
And
the cleric's religion?
I mean, in my every other Wednesday game where we all play Modrons, the cleric in the party has literally invented a new religion during half of our sessions. Like, it's a different
And-
religion each time. He has founded several cults,
Ooh.
and he's the party cleric.
That's good.
And because my children loved Linus, the Christmas story, Charlie Brown, I know all of the speeches by heart. So
I'd imagine.
yeah.
With wonderful
Also,
jazz
I
numbers.
think we also decided that I am, what was it, Lucy with the football?
Okay.
100% that's me. Unless I'm the one failing to kick the football because it's Agrippa. Those are the two options.
When does the piano start playing and we can go ahead and do the concert dance?
And which of you is dancing like Snoopy?
I'm Linus in this play, so yeah.
I'm a Christmas tree
Oh yeah, you're a tree. We just decided that.
because of my thing.
But
Yeah,
but
we
that growth
decided
is
that.
only like a single stalk, so you are the Charlie Brown Christmas tree specifically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Charlie,
exactly. I already
Yeah,
put the GIF in
Yeah.
the.
yeah, that's me.
Oh, you found the GIF. Wonderful. Everyone dancing. But the question is, what is Jaren's security blanket then?
Oh, it's my cloak.
Okay.
Tracks.
And it's like how there's that one kid in the back that's just walking like a zombie. That's his dance.
Yeah, that's Pev. I mean, that's Hero. Also, Nix. No, not Nix. Aripa. I got a 15 on my animal handling.
I am worried as to why you rolled animal handling.
Because she's the animals.
But she's not actually an animal. She's playing.
Hero wants to be as close. He is going for reality.
My worry, dread, and hope, it is an odd mix of reactions, is that at some point everyone's going to be like, well, where's Aripa? And smash cut to Aripa in an animal stall surrounded by hay.
And Hero trying to stuff it in her mouth. Because he's going out, once again, he's acting like a horse girl right now, but about theater.
Ellie, that would never work because Hero is not someone who knows Tasha's hideous laughter and therefore cannot cast it. So any laughter from Hero's actions would either be laughing
Legitimate.
at or laughing with.
Or both.
One could do both. Oh, Aripa does. Of course Aripa does, because this is Ellie's character. And Ellie, and this is rightfully so, Ellie has a fondness for the named spells. I do too. Liamon's tiny hut.
Do we need any snares or thorns?
I hope not. There's orphans going to be
Good,
present.
because I have those spells.
I mean,
make them appear.
I did mention on a couple occasions that there isn't really a central form of law enforcement, but I think if you cast any type of thorn effect on orphans, someone's going to choose to do something.
I mean, on the audience. I meant for, like, for dramatic effect.
Oh,
or
on
like,
your friends, not the audience.
Aesthetic.
You cast thorns on your friends for the aesthetic.
I am an actor.
Inspiration. I love this game so much. I love that I have almost nothing to do with the planning for tonight's game. This is fantastic. I'm DMing without DMing.
You're the first audience member.
I am. I'm the executive producer. Let's put it that way. My job is to throw money at the problem and watch it get worse. I mean, wait, no, that tracks. So I see that Jan rolled a 14 for performance. I will say that you're not going to get rave reviews from an adult audience, but the kids love it.
That's all
I
we're
got a
going for.
dirty 20
That's all we're going for.
on my performance.
if you get okay, you got a dirty 20 on your performance, so therefore it's one of those situations where people see you perform and then they see you after the performance and they don't know what to make of it. Like, oh, is your brother in the play?
It's me. I don't. My brother's not cold.
I thought you had a twin, the person who was on stage and was so eloquent.
It's me. Actor. And my tail, by the way, twitches up when I say actor.
Of course it does. They're assuming that you're rolling some kind of deception check, but it's not. So target number for presenting in front of children, I'm going to say, is a 10. So anything above 10 is good. I see that Xanthus got a 12 for performance, so you get mild applause.
Golf
On
clap.
a few occasions, you get applause for things that you weren't expecting applause for.
It's a tail. I mean, it works.
It happens.
Well, the tiefling orphan in the audience at one point does yell out, "He's like me! He's like me!" Because tieflings are
Aw.
incredibly rare. The Tabaxi orphans in the audience don't react the same way to Hero because they assume, of course, there's going to be a Tabaxi in the play. Why wouldn't they? The baby Jesus was a
We're
Tabaxi,
very-
wasn't it?
Look,
Also, we're very close to where I'm from.
Also true. By the way, remember I did say that the Kenku, there was an older Kenku that runs the orphanage. Their name is Bubbles, by the way. Yes. Not as in that's their name. Their name is the sound of carbonation.
They're a Powerpuff Girl.
I went to a site that allowed for random generation of Kenku names, and one of them was Bubbles, and I said, I don't need to look at the rest of the list.
We have a Powerpuff Girl as the head of the orphanage.
Well, every time you've seen Bubbles, she has at least one bandage. But
Oh.
she's raising 3 Tabaxi children, and she's a bird person.
Yeah, there's claws.
Yeah. It's do not declaw your Tabaxi. It is inhumane, or, well, the Tabaxi version of humane. It's not.
It just ain't right.
It isn't. It's removing that first knuckle. That you don't do that. So it's very clear every time you've seen Bubbles that Bubbles has her hands full. Well, fortunately, she apparently managed to wrangle a chaperone to assist with this outing so that the kids would be on their best behavior. Best behavior has different variations of possibilities, but there have been no fires started by the audience, so that seems to be working. Well, I am not ruling out actions by the players because that would be playing your characters for you, and I'm not going to do that. But I imagine the fire was started on one occasion by somebody. I'll let you decide if that happened or not, and by whom. Or,
Hi, how you guys doing? I'm here.
of course. So they have what appears to
Jesus, I mean, Jesus felt that their introduction needed to be a bit more metal.
be... Well, we didn't need that guitar anyway.
No, the guitar was accompanying. It was like, yeah, Jesus!
It accompanied for one note.
Yeah.
And then it was
Then the
kindling.
pit guitar took it over.
Well, their chaperone is a human woman who is possibly the tallest human you've ever seen. If any of you know what a Goliath is, you almost want to say that she is one, but she's not quite large enough to be a Goliath. Dark skin, red hair, pulled back in a no-nonsense braid, and she has a habit of speaking very softly, but every time she says something, the orphans do exactly what she has suggested. As if
She's
that
one
was...
of those.
Yeah, she doesn't raise her voice. She just gives a suggestion, and they think that is definitely an excellent idea, and that is what they will do now. and you may interpret that in more than one way. I will argue that for various instances, each of those interpretations is correct.
I'm just going to take it that she's a scurry lady.
Well, she doesn't
Or there's
threaten
some
anyone.
sort of psionics being in there.
Why do you immediately assume magic when you see someone who works well with children?
Because magic.
Because
Also-
we're parents.
Yeah, because you're parents. and I teach kindergarten through 8th grade, so yes, there is some degree of magic. Sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. We call that getting a 1-to-1 ratio with technology in the classroom.
Oh, goodness.
And then people
gracious.
complain about screen time. But never mind about that. So, how's the play going? So far, I've seen 3 performance checks that were, well, 2 were adequate. 1 was exceptional.
Yes.
What are the other roles that are going on?
Oh, there's a 6 performance for.
Yeah,
For
I'm
the
a pretty
animals.
bad tree,
No,
apparently.
animals.
Oh, well, you moved. Trees aren't supposed to move.
Okay.
There was
Makes
one
me
point.
feel a little bit better.
There was one point where the fumes from the fresh paint, probably applied by Hero, possibly applied
Yeah.
by multiple people with several coats, so therefore it took forever to dry. It might still be a little tacky, not unlike some parts of the play itself, but it's for kids, so that's expected.
Mhm.
Well, you
My tail
sneezed,
probably hit her. My tail.
Okay. All right. yeah.
which was
Got a little
involuntary.
too close.
Yeah. But after sneezing, you hear what a child thought was a whisper going, I don't think that's a real tree. You have ruined their immersion.
You ruined Christmas.
Uh,
Ruined! It's been ruined!
I was doing so good. All right.
But overall, people are really liking the performance. And I'm not going to require...
Made kids happy.
Exactly. I'm not going to require multiple rolls. I'm taking your 1 performance check for everything. So, and I'm kind of jumping around the timeline here for the performance. But at the end of it, when we have Jaren get on stage, well, near the end, and Jaren gets on stage and there's a single spotlight on the dwarf. He gives...
And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock at night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them. And they were so afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring to you good tidings of great joy, which shall be all people. For unto you is born this day to the city of David a Saviour, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the baby wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in the manger, as he points toward Hero. And suddenly there was with angel a multitude of the heavenly host praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. And Jaren bows.
And that's what Christmas is all about, Charlie Brown. It's not about commercialism, but please buy all these toys and the DVD.
We're happy to announce our new toy line. Anyway,
And little Jaren, there's a little Jaren with his cloak. He has it aside.
To be fair, the Peanuts franchise became very heavily commercialized after Charles Schultz's death, not so much before.
yeah, he had very strong rules about his creation until he was no longer around to stop them.
By the way, some of the children are a little confused about the plot. For some reason, they think that Jesus was a cow for a little while. It's probably because you spent your budget on a variety of things, but skimped a little bit on the costumes. So the Jesus costume and the cow costume are almost the
Very
same.
There
Like,
is one
well,
cloak difference. There is one.
There's the brown outfit for the cow, and then you took it off and wrapped it around yourself for the swaddling clothes.
Yeah, I put a blanket on top for the swaddling.
I
you know,
love this game so much, and I am so glad that I get to be here for, oddly enough, in my decades of playing this game, probably the strangest game I have ever encountered.
you are so welcome.
And I do remember participating in a campaign where there was an aquaphobic dwarf, and we were fighting like slime molds or jellies or something that was like damaged by fire. So we were using the grease from his hair, because so aquaphobic he never took a bath, to create flaming arrows.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes. That was a strange one.
That's the answer. Yes.
Okay.
I was not that character. It was not my idea. But
Okay.
I was there. Not in the sense that I often say I'm here for this content. It was content, and I was there, but I wasn't there for that. I was.
You were an
honestly,
unfortunate bystander.
I was honestly there for the pizza, because
That's valid.
I worked at Pizza Hut at the time, and I literally had brought the pizza. But never mind about that. So the production ends. The refreshments are consumed. I would like someone to roll me a... Well, first of all, tell me, did you charge?
Not the orphans. I think the rest of the people, but not the orphans.
I mean, the orphans probably inherited all the money from their parents, so they're probably loaded. I mean, that one orphan named Bruce, he's holding out on you.
Sorry, there's Tabaxi in the audience. We ain't got money.
Well, they are now, because they know where Bruce sleeps at night. There is no orphan named Bruce.
You need to stop leading us on, Crash.
No, Alfred takes care of him. He doesn't hang out in the orphanage with the commoners. He's up on that house in the hill. The one with all the bats everywhere.
I was going to say, the one with the creepy music every time you get by. There's no stereo systems yet. And yet...
Creepy music. All there is bat dance everywhere, and I'm like, bat dance.
That's the oddest copyright strike we will have ever gotten.
But it will be worth it.
I mean, I don't think any copyright strike is really worth it if it actually occurs, but yeah.
I don't think they're going to get you for that one, Crash.
No, I don't think they will. I just like joking about copyright strikes for like 2 notes. Sure. With that said, but you did charge for everyone else. So how much did you charge? And the crowd.
I don't do numbers. I don't do math. I'm a cat.
Okay.
People ask how much for a ticket, and Hero holds up a paw and says, "This much."
We charge 10 silver
per person.
Gold. That's a gold, man. That's a lot.
We're kind of bad.
Well, plus, it was a charitable thing to help the orphans. So maybe we could talk about a couple of silver as long as the orphans are getting a cut.
Ooh.
Well, I mean,
how about 3 and they get
bad,
1?
Are we that bad? I don't know if I could allow myself in my clerical, responsibilities to take advantage of certain people like that. That's just me personally.
I heard somebody say 3 where the orphans getting 1.
Yeah.
I have a thought, and this comes
the orphans
from.
Are free.
Yeah.
I have a thought that comes from
Yes.
Working at a creative art and performing arts academy that has done charity events. I propose this: you have a fee at the door,
Mm-hmm. And then a donation.
You do have a spot for donations, but also the refreshments. All profits from the refreshments go to the orphanage.
Understand.
That sounds good.
Because then what you do is other volunteers that usually help with the orphanage, because let's face it, one Kenku is not going to be able to wrangle 12 children, especially if 3 of them are Tabaxi.
No, it's funny to watch.
Well, that is one of the draws for the people who volunteer, but never mind about that. Well, you could also wrangle them into handling the concessions because they're the ones keeping that profit anyway.
I like this. And that's me as the player because Hero does not know and or care what y'all are talking about.
That's kind of what my school does, where refreshments are often served by the PTO, and they fund the PTO, which in turn does cool things for the school. So it all comes around, but still. All right, so in that regard, someone roll me a D100. I'm going to take the first number I see that's rolled as a D100. Ellie wins. Okay, congratulations. You make 150 gold.
Yay!
Thank goodness, because I had got a much worse roll.
Do things positive for the community.
Yeah.
It was standing room only, not for the first performance. First performance was mostly the orphans and a few other people. But the second performance was the orphans, yeah. They were from Earth.
I was an orphan boy.
The orphans are from Earth, and every time you show up, they welcome you. After punching you in the face. It's a tradition.
Orphan boy. Just
I don't know if we're going to get a copyright strike for that.
Okay.
With that said, I'm not going to say that 150 gold is for one performance. That's for multiple performances that you did, including the matinee.
Understand.
Yes. I'm a little concerned about the cleric getting on stage and giving a speech about a different religion than the one he follows.
It's okay. It's for a play. It's make-believe.
Yeah, and it's for the children.
I must continue to think that as I continue to just
your deity, your deity, who is a god of war, comes down from on high and taps you on the shoulder and says, "What are you doing? What's this about?
Children.
Why are you preaching peace and love? I'm a god of war. If they all make peace, what am I going to do?"
War is a necessity that brings peace, I say.
Only if you kill everyone on the other side.
Yeah.
But peace still may happen.
No, pieces. There's pieces of them left. You have cut them to pieces. I am totally not personifying Tyr the way Tyr is meant to be personified, but it's for the bit. None of this happens, except maybe in a dream, possibly a nightmare. Jaren should probably not just assume that with his dwarven constitution that the expired milk is still drinkable. There's a time period between fresh milk and cheese where it's a no-touch type thing. I'm just saying.
I will consider to pray.
Hero got an 18 on their survival check, so they enjoyed the spoiled milk.
The sad news is Tabaxi, like most cats, are lactose intolerant.
Like, that stopped me before.
I didn't say it stopped you. I'm just letting you know that there will be repercussions for your actions.
Well, also, I'm not the one who cleans my litter box.
Prestidigitation.
I am not going to be the one who decides who does clean it, and unless someone raises their hand to say that'll be me, I'm just going to assume that's one of those litter boxes where we best not think about its existence. Because some jobs just don't get done in a building where everyone is pretty much there on their own. And we've gone from silliest session I've ever done to one that might keep me up at night.
I think we have done
Try those automatic ones. You know, like the...
My cat would be scared to death of it. He would never use the litter box again. I mean, this is a cat who gets scared when someone turns the lights on or off. Or if I'm about to sneeze. Not if I sneeze. If I have a sharp intake of breath, he assumes I'm going to sneeze and he runs and hides.
I had a cat once that was the literal definition of a scaredy cat, to the point that one time I opened a door and she pooped herself.
Let's just say I'm happy I don't have cats.
She also then accidentally popped out the screen on the second story and sledded down like the little half roof and then flew into the air and landed on the ground in our front yard and froze herself in fear.
I have a cat story that I will only tell offline. So, we have actually been playing. Yes, this is in fact what we've been doing, and it's been a joy. But we've been playing for about 45 minutes. What do you say we take a short break to refresh ourselves before we continue on with... You might not believe it's a plot, but there is one. This is a plot. It exists.
Yes, we have one.
And I love it.
Yes.
Yep, sounds good.
We are live.
Hello.
Because apparently some of the people in this game insisted that we play some Dungeons and Dragons tonight.
Okay.
I know. Weird.
Instead of talking about
hold
growing
on.
up Lutheran.
Hold on. Dungeons and Dragons. Okay.
Okay, so as you exit the theater at the end of the session, you find that someone has nailed 95 suggestions for how to improve. No, I'm joking.
By the way, Hero is now only going to call it the theater
Yes, the theater.
because, once again, Pev has become horse girl.
I have just bitten my tongue because I thought of a joke and I'm like, no, I'll have to edit it out. It's not even like an obscene
enough.
joke. It's just no. I'm not committing that to video. I cherish the moments where I can make people laugh with a comment. I cherish them. I love them. So after a week of doing these performances, you have built up the 150 gold that I said that you've earned. You can split that amongst yourselves however you want. You will probably still need to subsidize your acting careers through the occasional dungeon dive. But you will probably be avoiding the Crooked Hills because, one, you've already done that, and two, there's too many rooms with green circles in there.
I can't even see the color green, and I know that they're bad.
I mean, technically, tabaxi aren't cats.
Yep,
So
that's what you said.
like you finally go to a tabaxi village and you see that they have actual like outhouses and toilets and stuff, and like, wait, Hero's just been using a litter box, and they all look at you aghast.
Like, who? Why?
What have you been doing and why? No, we don't want to know. We don't want to know. But here, let us show you the ways of your people. This one flushes.
Also, we were doing so well when Hero wasn't here.
So kids hear about, little tabaxi children hear about what Hero has done, and they're like, "Oh, let's try that." And their parents are just like, one older tabaxi with a monocle has the monocle fall out.
Why are all my characters the ones that the parents hate?
Because you like to play characters with poor impulse control.
Or
Paige-
bowel control?
No, Paige had amazing impulse control. They just chose to make weird decisions. If anything, it can be argued Paige had better decision making than some Kenku because she decided not to go into the life of crime. However,
There might have been 40 Kenku children who all decided to follow Paige's example without following Paige's example exactly.
yeah, they
There's
just
always
wanted
a
to
foot there
leave.
somewhere.
And meanwhile, Paige was actually trying to better herself.
So were they, but they didn't exactly go in
Didn't
the
go
same
to
direction.
college. They didn't go to college.
They didn't want to rack up all the debt.
Well, too bad. You gotta better yourself. Anyway,
Well, if you're going to be a warlock, going to college is not the way. If you're going to college, you're going to become a wizard. If you're going to just steal a degree from somewhere and say, I got this now, then
That's
you're
your
going to be a warlock.
well, I went in to be a wizard, came out as a warlock. Things happen.
And if you're a sorcerer, well, many of those involve some type of heritage, so I guess that's nepotism to become a spellcaster.
Oh, so getting into like MIT. Okay.
I think MIT would be multi-classing multiple casting classes, but never mind about
Oh my
that.
gosh.
Artificer. Artificers are MIT.
Yeah, I'm imagining, yeah, artificer. Anyway.
So after the first show with the orphans are brought back on multiple occasions to attend. For one, it's kind of nice to point out, oh, and by the way, this show is to support these members of the audience right here, who are currently available for adoption, and everyone kind of looks nervously when it's pointed out that they're available for adoption. Like, yeah, I've already got 3, I'm not getting a 4th. Or, not ready for kids right now. I kind of like having an income with my wife where we're both making money and don't have to support a child right now. And they all think of reasons why they're not going to adopt these kids who have been in the orphanage for years. But each time, this same chaperone attends, and
You're forcing plot onto us.
I know, I did it last week too, and I'm a horrible person for it. And she does seem to pay a bit more attention during the Linus monologue at the end. Which is not the Linus monologue, because that would be talking about how open source software is very useful and you should all try that.
Yeah, we have enough Linus monologues in our lives. We don't need it in a play. Moving on.
Stay tuned for my next campaign, which is all about the Frostbro religion, which now exists in Dungeons and Dragons.
As penguins? Do we all have to play as penguins? Like, don't do this to me.
No, those are the villains.
Oh, you know they are.
But then, so is the Church of Apple, and also so is the Church of Windows, which for some reason they keep saying it opens doors.
Windows. Don't throw a rock there. Don't throw rocks at it.
I need to make that be a one shot of various OSs just competing against each other as like with people playing paladins and clerics for that. I need to make that one shot. Plot.
Lord Jobs.
Investigation checks for everybody.
Oh,
Heroes is going to be at a disadvantage because hero.
that's valid. You said investigation or
Investigation.
right? Well, and at disadvantage, I almost said disinvestigation. At disinvestigation, I got a 5.
I mean, if you roll a 5 on investigation, I would argue that is disinvestigation.
Still
And-
better than Millie.
I rolled a 2 plus 3.
Yeah, and I see a 4 for Xanthus, so no, you did not do better than hero.
Yep.
But we have a dirty 20 for Nyx, and we have a 19 for Jaren. So I'm going to say,
Dad, what do you see?
what do your dwarf eyes
Thankfully,
see?
not all.
Ale.
Your father, Dad.
Yeah.
What do your tiefling eyes see?
The skies is blue.
Now remember, this is investigation, not perception. So this
Still
is,
did, Dad.
Yeah, that's the difference.
yes, this is coming to a conclusion about things that you have seen, as opposed to, let's see if you've even noticed. So it is clear that this person who you have not seen before, that you assume they might be even new to the island, because it's a fairly large harbor town, but it's not that large a harbor town. And this person tends to stand out in a crowd because they're like literally a head taller than everyone else. So
Are they taller than me?
they are not 7 feet tall. So no, they are
Okay.
still shorter than you.
Okay, that's what's important. That's why I
But-
wasn't paying attention.
But they are over 6 foot, just not 7 feet.
Still, that's why I'm not looking into it, because I'm like, why is that weird?
Well, you tend to look down on humans, like, well, literally, figuratively, that's up to you. But literally, you look down on humans. So well, isn't it normal that they're short? And this person is not quite as short. If you covered them in fur, they'd probably be very upset, but they'd also look a bit more like a tabaxi.
Okay.
But probably be very upset because your cat hair just gets everywhere. I mean, they've been in the same room as you and 3 tabaxi children, so they are already covered in fur, but that's not what I meant.
Oh.
So let's go with the lower roll and then go with the higher roll. So, Jaren, you notice this person is helping with the orphans each time, and you notice that she pays very close attention to the monologue you give at the end, to the point where she almost doesn't notice some misbehavior from some of the children on certain parts. She still seems to notice it, but she kind of just doesn't look in their direction to address it. She kind of just reaches over with one hand and makes, like, she holds up a finger, and the student who was about to do a thing decides that it's best if they don't do the thing. But she didn't turn to look at them and acknowledge them when she did that. And you really think that, well, you haven't seen her before, but okay, maybe you have. But, there's something familiar about her. You can't quite place it. Kalima. Well, not Kalima. I'm using different names. Nix, you have several things going for you. One, you rolled a dirty 20 for your investigation check, which is fantastic.
I'm just being skipped.
Well, you got a 5.
Yeah,
so
but I still
didn't notice.
I still...
You noticed that there was a significantly lower number of fires once the production started than when it was being created. That's what you noticed.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst.
You assume because the paint finally dried and therefore was less flammable. All the turpentine was put away properly. And the no smoking signs were set up, specifically around the hay bales.
Okay.
Smoking's not cool. You shouldn't do that, kids.
No.
Flame wreath. Not even once. But in any case, you have something else going for you, Nix, and that is, while you have an inability to wear most hats, that's not something that you're interested in so much, but that growth on your head gives you true sight, which is incredibly useful. And it takes a moment of conversation after one of the productions where, but let's say it was probably Jaren that brought it up, or it could have been somebody else. It doesn't really matter too much for the sake of the plot. But there was conversation about, hey, did you notice that person that keeps showing up in the audience? And when they are described physically to point out which person is being talked about, the tone of skin is described. But they didn't look like they had a dark skin tone to you. I mean, now that you think of it, they kind of sort of did, but it was hard to notice because they were almost glowing, according to your true sight.
Just for fun, can I use primeval awareness?
What does that do?
As an action, I can expend 1 spell slot to sense whether any aberrations, celestials, dragons, elemental, fae, fiends, or undead are present within a mile of me.
They're, well, you're within a mile of the Ogmanite Enclave, so I'm going to say that every time you do that, the answer is yes.
Oh.
There's some research that's happening in some of the sub-levels that, yep, there's a few. So what exactly is the research about that requires you to have 20 imps on treadmills? Actually, that's just to power my reading light.
That's valid. That's valid.
But
should
you
just
don't
have me
read anything. Your previous invention read the books for you. I don't see your point. So yes, there are plenty of those things, of more than one thing in that category within a mile of you. Does it tell you anything other than is there or isn't there anyone else in the room?
Tragically, it says it does not reveal location or number.
Whoops.
But it also tells you, is you is, so is you ain't my baby. Sorry.
Okay.
No. Well, Hero is playing the baby Jesus, but he's not your baby
Also,
Jesus.
Question.
Answer. Sorry.
Does my cipher cure not knowing?
No, it does not, and you already fed that to a Kenku. You don't have it anymore.
I still have the bottle, and I think about it fondly.
It's a scene from Cats, which I'm appreciating the imagery of a Tabaxi thinking of a song from Cats. Memories. Tabaxi copyright strike.
Yeah, I have it to remind myself of the time a cotton candy machine almost killed me.
It's okay. Your dad was there.
Thanks, Dad.
And then he said, "Don't you speak to me or my son ever again." Well, he didn't actually say that, but in your head, sometimes you might think he said that.
Yeah.
Memory's silly thing.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I was trying to be useful, and then I wasn't.
Oh, well, it led to a great conversation, and a lot of laughs were had. So I would say that was incredibly useful. But so far as furthering the plot, it's unfortunately not.
Can I use my
incredibly
testy too?
When exactly do you pull out the testy 2 and how do you use it? Please paint this picture for me.
I use it to mess with the lights.
Like the actual lights set up in the theater? Or theater, as you refer to it?
Switches.
When do you
switches
do
that,
this?
Like when I'm supposed to, like set up the spotlights because they're hot and my hands have fur. So I use the testy
insulator,
to
okay.
nudge them into position.
I'm gonna make a roll.
Hold on, a nudge roll?
No, I'm making a roll for the children during the production to see if any of them notices that either the cow or the baby Jesus, depending on which particular scene we're talking about, is pulling out the arm of a corpse to move things around. And you are fortunate because, as is frequently the case for small children, I rolled an 8. They've got no clue.
Sides hurt.
I have rolled for the rest of the audience. That is a 7. They notice less than the children notice. As is often the case, I believe, if you don't want a child,
The old razzle dazzle.
if you don't want a child to notice something, that would be the first thing they notice. But in this case, that is not occurring because
I gave them the old razzle dazzle.
Well, if you're moving things around during the production, I would argue that someone else is on stage giving them razzle dazzle at that point. Possibly.
I think that's when I move.
This is Heroes Just
I
in
think
Light.
that's
It
when
is
I
now
move.
Nix's time to shine.
Yep. Yeah.
For some weird reason,
I
Sorry.
saw it happening, so I moved.
for some weird
No one
reason,
needs to
no
see
one
that.
else wants to use my testy 2 to change the lights. So it falls to me.
Well, let's face it. If anyone did want to use that besides you, then they wouldn't be someone you'd want working with you.
No, it's mine.
You're 7 feet tall. You got that reach.
Yeah, and then with the arm, it's like 9 feet.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, and I totally get where Hero's coming from, because Hero is mostly covered with fur, and fur is an insulator, but not the toe beans.
No, my
Think
little
of the
beans.
toe beans. Well, you're 7
little
foot tall. They're not
beans.
little.
Think of the big beans.
You don't want them baked
No,
or refried.
absolutely not.
They already got fried once because someone used burning hands.
Fire.
Yeah, so we don't want them refried.
My beans are on fire.
But someone does notice that you've pulled out the arm of a corpse to adjust the lights. And as you're adjusting them, you hear a voice behind you from almost
Yeah.
above you, but just a little bit lower than you, say, "What are you doing? There are children here."
I'm moving the lights. I gotta
Can't
get it
you-
onto the to Dad.
But can't you use like a stick or something like that? Where do you even get a corpse arm?
I went on an adventure and I found it, and it's really good at nudging things.
But adventures are for like bringing back treasures and stories, not dismembered corpses.
there was like an electric wall there, and I didn't want to hurt myself, and so I kept it. And then I just happened to just keeping it.
Look, just put it away before the kids see it.
Oh, they're not paying attention. There's a tree moving.
I mean, okay, I was wondering about that too. Is that a medical condition? I didn't want to ask her personally.
It's a magic thing. It lets her see with her eyes closed. I'm jealous.
Okay, that's actually kind of useful. But I'd miss hats. I don't see how she'd be able to wear any hats.
Apparently not her thing. Maybe she's in the visors.
Suppose. But this is besides the point. Please put the arm away. It should be buried or something.
I stick it back in my pocket. Okay.
I will get you a stick or something. I will trade you a stick with some little grabby thing on the end of it for that arm, and I will lay the arm to rest. I can't believe I just said I'm going to lay an arm to rest. She facepalms.
It's my testy too. I took it from one of the cipher bodies.
I have more questions, but also I will get you a new testy too, a better testy too, and then you can stop using the arm of a corpse.
Are you saying it's the testy dose? Testy do?
She just stares at you.
Anyways, how did you get back here?
I mean, it's a small theater. I literally just walked. I mean,
But like the play's on that side.
I didn't even go through a closed door. You left it open behind you. I just walked. You can see the entire audience from here.
Yeah. And that's how I know when to come back in when I'm done moving the lights. Ooh, it's almost my cue.
I'm going to say this conversation has gone on long enough that actually it's been Hero's cue for the last 5 minutes. And the audience is kind of just starting to shuffle around. Several of them have gotten up to get refreshments. They're assuming it's an intermission. Like, well, it's kind of odd for a play this short.
Show starts.
It's kind of odd for a play this short to have 3 intermissions, but I mean, I guess you can't have too much watered down orange drink.
Who put out the watered down orange drink?
The volunteers.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Well, you said they got to keep the profits, so they paid for like 1 bottle of orange drink, and that 1 bottle of orange drink has been used for the entire week. At this point, it is lightly orange-colored water.
I hate this.
It's for the kids.
This.
It's also totally a Simpsons reference.
Yes.
Well, we didn't have any They Might Be Giants references this week, so I figured we might as well have a Simpsons reference.
Okay.
Fine. So I will get you a
Shh,
testy...
it's my turn.
Okay.
On stage! On stage!
There's not even a cut. It's a camera follows Hero frantically gallivanting on all 4s from the back of the theater. You dive into
my head.
Okay, what role are you playing at this point?
What part of the play are we at?
I have no idea.
I think she's going to be the cow at this point.
No.
Give me an intimidation check.
Okay. I got an 11.
Okay, so 2 small children who are not orphans, but their parents brought them, start crying, probably for totally unrelated reasons, so far as Hero thinks. There is one person wearing a 10-gallon hat that's just like, oh, this brings back some memories. It's a good thing there's only one of them. I remember when the cows came home. Took forever to close that portal.
That's what I thought you were referencing.
Well, good thing he's currently east of Loathing, so everything's fine.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it wouldn't be a D&D game if I didn't reference something else entirely that not everyone got. So we have had a cow stampede by 1. Is it really a stampede if it's just one of them? Onto the stage to deliver the riveting line of moo, which was already delivered en route. So now you're just on stage.
Yes.
Also, there wasn't a cow in the original Charlie Brown Christmas, so this was a part that was added in.
This is something thing that Hero wanted. Just a small thing.
And as is frequently the case, apparently, for this particular party, the rest of the party was just like, okay, we're going to go with yes and for this. I don't quite get it either, but okay. So here's a cow now.
Most parents know to just smile and nod when their kid says they want something.
Yes, but they also still frequently say no. At least that's how I grew up. That or it was ask your mother when I knew my mom would say no, or ask your father when I knew my father would say no. And one time he didn't, and that's how I got a cat.
Yay.
Yes.
Anyways.
So anyways, you are on stage. I suppose you've probably mooed a second time.
Mm-hmm.
A slightly different moo, I guess, or the same moo, whichever. And the audience is
There's
like,
moo here and a moo there.
Here a moo, there a moo.
Everywhere a moo.
Well, that's the one lady in the back. That's the outfit that she wears. That's her fashion sense. That's her choice. We're not going to shame her for that.
Okay.
So that takes place, and people assume the intermission is over, and they stop buying watered down orange drink, and the local volunteers are now getting a little antsy because it's the last show of the week, and they were really banking on being able to sell the rest of this orange drink without it going to waste. Most people are actually not drinking it, by the way.
They're doing it to be polite.
Yes, they're paying for it. They're picking it up and then somehow distracting the people running the stand, or some of them are too lazy to distract them, and just setting it back down in one of the neat rows of orange drink and then going back to sit down. There's a few kids who drink it, but they regret it later.
Hero drinks it.
Of course Hero does. There's one child who was actually heard saying, "My orange drink doesn't taste funny. It's supposed to taste funny. It just tastes like water now."
It doesn't taste like Daddy's drink anymore.
No. That is straight out no. I'm not going to veto a lot of things, but I will veto that.
Sorry. That was Hero saying that because Dad makes alcohol. Anyway.
That's a different stand. Those are also concessions, but that's run by a dwarf volunteer, and they card.
Okay.
Which means they're not selling a lot because this is a fantasy world, so cards proving your age aren't a thing. So they ask for an ID, and they're like, "A what?" The assumption is there's an ulterior motive because it looks like that particular dwarf volunteer is, he doesn't want it to go bad, so he's drinking all the stuff that isn't sold during the day.
Very helpful.
Yes. You don't want it to go. You don't want spoiled ale.
Of course not.
I mean, it might get cold or warm, or the temperature might change in any degree at all, and so he's drinking it before that happens.
Oh goodness.
Yes, he's helpful. He's helping, not unlike Hero, who is currently moving on stage.
I'm an actor.
The theater.
The theater.
This game is so weird. I love it. I really do. I am non-sarcastically enthralled with this session, even though it's, I think, the session where you spent half an hour arguing about a green circle moved the plot forward more than tonight, but I think I'm having more fun tonight. Correct me if I'm saying something that you don't agree with.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Well, I know you do, but...
Sorry.
Give me an insight check.
Ooh, I can do that.
Well, no, this is going to be for Hero specifically.
Oh, understand.
Jaren, you've
Okay.
already come to a bit of a realization, so this information is going to click in your head as well.
Okay.
14.
Okay. You've talked to that person before. You know some of her mannerisms, or maybe it's a sister or something. You don't know for sure, but you're
a tree
pretty
lady?
sure she's not a tree lady.
No, like the one who woke me up in a tree, lady.
Yeah, the last time you had a conversation with her, she apologized for the inconvenience.
I'm really glad that, she took the apology to heart and is giving me a new toy.
Well, she kind of wants you to stop desecrating a corpse. So there's that. That's the bargain that she's trying to strike with you.
I am interpreting it the way I said.
And I appreciate that the realization that everyone playing the game figured out has now been realized by every character in this game, except for Xanthus, who's still like thinking, well, it's kind of nice they found someone to help out with the orphans.
Yeah.
We're doing well.
Yes, and I think that is where we're going to end it because we've been playing for almost 2 hours, and it is almost 11 o'clock at night.
It has been amazing.
It has been an adventure, and not the kind that most people think of when they are about to enter a Dungeons & Dragons session. We have explored new ground and new methods of making people snort in laughter, and I am here for this content. This has been a glorious evening. Thank you everyone for playing. Thank you everyone for listening, if in fact you still are, because I know what's amusing to me is not always amusing to everyone. Tonight we were joined by a bunch of awesome people, including April, Matt, Millie, Eric hopped in a little bit late but was here. Ellie had to hop out a little bit early, but she was here. Is there anything that anyone wants to plug?
I stream on the Twitch a lot. That's it. Oh, do I have to say the other thing?
You might want to say how to get to the Twitch thing. Otherwise, just going to go to Twitch and type in Millie, and they might get something that says like Scientific Millie or Sufficiently Advanced Technology Millie.
I've had a day.
But they might not search for Magical Millie.
Yeah, it's Magical Millie. Twitch at Magical Millie, and I stream games or writing or games. Right now I'm playing the Sam and Max games, which means they're absolutely off the wall stupid and fantastic.
Might have influenced tonight's session.
You're welcome. That's it. Okay.
Okay, and we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/cogwheelgaming. You can help us keep the lights on, encourage us to do more of this. I don't know what this was, but you can encourage us to do more of it. Along with our illustrious patrons, which includes Chris, Ellie, Eric, Janatalock, Mickey, Shanshan, and Walter. And until next time, this is Crash saying, Bravo! Bravo!
Yeah.
Bravo! Stop getting more orange drink. We gotta go.
Son, stop with the orange drink. Car's outside.
What's a car?
Don't
It's
worry
a
about
horseless carriage. Doesn't sound like it would go anywhere. It's powered by gnomes. I don't want to get in the horseless carriage. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.